So let's talk about the University of Management and Technology. You probably know it as UMT. It calls itself Pakistan's #1 private university, which is a pretty huge claim, right? So over the next few minutes, we're going to break down the numbers, the history, and the real-world impact to see what's actually behind that title.
Yeah, #1. You hear that, you see it in their marketing. But it's a seriously bold claim for any institution to make. So what exactly backs that up? Is this just clever marketing, or is there some real substance there? Well, let's dig in and find out.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle those rankings head-on. Then we'll trace its history, explore all the academic programs and what campus life is actually like, and we'll finish up by looking at the tangible impact of its graduates out in the world.
Okay, first up, the rankings. To really get a handle on that #1 claim, we've got to start with the hard data and see how UMT actually stacks up, not just in Pakistan, but on the world stage.
And there it is. According to the Times Higher Education Rankings for 2023, UMT is officially the top private university in Pakistan. Now think about that. In a country with hundreds of private institutions, this single data point is really the foundation of their entire claim to leadership.
But if we zoom out a bit, the picture gets even more interesting. Across all of Asia, UMT ranks 116th. Now this tells you it's not just a big deal nationally. It's competing on the same stage as established universities from all over the continent. And globally, it lands in the 501 to 600 bracket. But here's the really interesting part, the why. A huge driver for this ranking is its research impact. UMT scored a nearly perfect 99.9 for research citations. That's the highest in all of Pakistan. It basically means its academic work is being noticed and used by researchers all around the world. So, those are some impressive numbers, but they don't just appear out of thin air, right? This next part is all about the journey. How did UMT build this kind of reputation in just a little over 30 years?
Well, the story actually starts back in 1990, not as a university, but as a trust. The really big turning point came in 2002, when it got government approval to grant its own degrees. That's the moment it became a true academic institution. The official UMT name we know today followed just 2 years later, cementing that new identity. And this motto, it really gets to the philosophical core of that whole journey. We transform learners into leaders of tomorrow. It feels like more than just a nice phrase on a website. It seems to be the lens through which they view everything they do, from the classes they offer to life on campus.
So, if the mission is to create leaders, what are the tools they're using to do it? That brings us right to the academic core of UMT. Let's take a look at the sheer scale of what's being taught there. Get this, the university offers over 150 degree programs. That number alone tells you their strategy is all about breadth and variety. They've built this massive catalog that covers pretty much everything, from your first bachelor's degree all the way up to a PhD. And all those programs are organized across this pretty impressive structure. 17 different schools, 2 institutes, and 1 college. This isn't just an administrative chart, It shows a very deliberate focus on creating these specialized hubs for everything from business and engineering to creative fields like media and textile design. Of course, creating leaders isn't something that just happens in a classroom with textbooks. So now, let's look at the environment UMT has built, the campus itself, and all the stuff that happens outside of lectures. So, on campus, students can join over 60 different clubs and societies. And this isn't just about hobbies. It's really a practical extension of that leadership motto we talked about. These clubs are basically training grounds for real-world skills like project management and teamwork, stuff you don't always learn in a lecture hall. And the campus facilities, they reflect that same whole-person approach. You can see they've invested a ton, not just in top-tier academic resources like modern labs and a huge library, but also really heavily in student wellness, from sports complexes and a gym to social spaces like cafes and lounges. The university's physical footprint is also clearly very strategic. Beyond their main hub in Lahore, they have a specialized campus just for health sciences. But what's really interesting is the campus in Sialkot. That's not a random location. It's one of Pakistan's most important industrial centers. It shows a clear plan to connect their education directly with the needs of the local economy. So we've covered the rankings, the history, and the campus. But what does it all add up to? Well, our final section is all about the impact, and we're going to measure that by looking at the people who make up the UMT community. First, let's look at the educators. UMT has over 1,000 faculty members.
But the really key number here is that more than 300 of them hold PhDs. That high concentration of doctoral-level teachers is a direct signal of just how focused the institution is on academic rigor. And once students graduate, they don't just leave. They join a global network of over 20,000 alumni. Now, for a current student, that's not just a statistic, it's a massive professional resource that they can tap into, connecting with people across dozens of industries and countries.
Now here's a number that really speaks volumes. Over 13 billion rupees. That's how much financial aid UMT has awarded since it was founded. It's a powerful statement that their growth strategy includes a huge focus on making sure education is accessible, no matter a student's financial background.
And you can see that impact so clearly in their notable alumni. What's striking to me here isn't just the level of fame, but the sheer variety of fields represented. You've got a national cricket captain, a novelist, an artist, and a TV actor. This kind of diversity really suggests that the university is a place that fosters talent across a very wide spectrum.
So, when you step back and look at it, from a small trust in 1990 to the nation's top-ranked private university today, UMT's journey has been one of incredible speed and scale. And that leaves us with a really critical question. As it continues to grow, can it maintain that high research quality and the focus that got it to the top in the first place? Finding that balance, well, that's the core challenge for any institution on a trajectory like this.